During phase one, you know, he's definitely been one of the bright faces. The organization is definitely looking to build this thing up around, as he has been around nonstop during the offseason. And you can see he's galvanizing the troops, and the team is really rallying around him.
You see playmaking ability. I think you see a player that is confident in his skill set. So when you see that playmaking ability and inner confidence, you say, okay, there's something to work with there. So I think that's the thing that excites you. What you see on tape are those aspects. A very young player that really didn't grow up in a pro-style offense. It's not his fault. Our job is to...
Listen to this. Something is going down inside the Cleveland Browns facility right now that the entire NFL better not ignore. And no, don't get it twisted. This isn't speculation. This isn't one of those empty hot takes people throw around for clicks. This is a pattern, calculated, intentional, and honestly, kind of genius. The kind Todd Monken has been building step by step since day one in Cleveland. Because what we're watching unfold right now isn't just a quarterback battle. Hold up, this feels bigger than that. This looks like a full-on coronation, and yeah, Monken's the one placing the crown. So let's break down what's been happening behind the scenes over the past few days inside that facility. Todd Monken hasn't just been coaching Shedeur Sanders. He's been locked in with him, working side by side, in sync. There's a clear chemistry between this coordinator and this young QB that goes way beyond your typical offseason coach-player vibe. Monken has even been leaning on Shedeur to relay messages to the rest of the team. Not in some stiff, official way, but naturally, organically. The kind of trust you only show when you know that person's voice actually carries weight in the room. Now think about that for a second. When a coach turns a player into his voice in the locker room, that's not just responsibility. That's him stamping that player as the face of what they're building. That's him signaling, without saying a word, that this is the engine of the offense. This is the guy everyone else needs to fall in line behind. And right now in Cleveland, yeah, that guy is Shedeur Sanders. Monken knows exactly what move he's making here. He understands Shedeur already has serious love from his teammates. And trust me, the respect for this young quarterback in that locker room is very, very real.
Well, it's too early to really evaluate him, other than it's been great that he's been in the building. It's refreshing to see a player that recognizes where he's at.
And listen, all of that respect, he earned it the hard way through everything Shedeur battled through last season. The punishment he took, the restraint he showed when most would have clapped back at the media, the day-in, day-out professionalism, even while the organization around him kept dropping the ball. His teammates saw every bit of that. They witnessed who Shedeur Sanders really is when the cameras weren't hyping him up and the narratives were working against him. And what did they see? Yeah, it made them fully buy in.
It's not like they can be any more frustrated than the people who are out there putting their body on the line and not winning.
Now listen, Monken is taking that real, organic respect and turning it into something solid. He's shaping the entire team's chemistry and identity around Shedeur, making sure that by the time the regular season hits, there's no confusion, no debate, and no hesitation about who runs this offense. Say what you want from the outside. Go ahead. Inside that building, the answer is already locked in. And speaking of critics, Monken has zero patience left for that noise. We already saw him step up publicly and challenge every negative narrative that got thrown at Shedeur during his rookie season. He went straight at that not a playmaker label, looked the doubters dead in the eye, and basically said, who decided Shedeur isn't a playmaker? This guy has been making plays his whole life. Don't get it twisted. From the moment he stepped onto a college football field, Shedeur Sanders was doing things that made people stop and pay attention. And Todd Monken, he's not about to let anyone rewrite that story with clickbait agendas instead of facts. And that's exactly why Monken's approach hits different right now. He's not just defending Shedeur in front of microphones. He's actively tearing down the entire narrative system that tried to box this quarterback in last season. And make no mistake, that system didn't just happen by accident. Kevin Stefanski kept dodging Shedeur's name in press conference after press conference. The coaching staff gave him 0 first-team reps in training camp. 0. Think about that for a second. The 5th overall pick in the NFL draft, a quarterback raised by one of the greatest athletes this game has ever seen, a player with elite football IQ, and you're giving him nothing with the first unit? Then when things didn't click instantly, the those same voices turned around and blamed Shedeur instead of looking in the mirror.
Why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
Okay.
Now, hold up. Andrew Berry saw all of it unfolding in real time. He watched things fall apart week after week, all season long. And when he finally decided to move on from Stefanski, he didn't sugarcoat a single word. He stepped up to that podium and dropped a term that cut straight through all the usual PR talk: ignoring. He said the coaching staff was straight up ignoring these young players, not mishandling them, not underusing them, ignoring. And listen, that one word tells you everything about how frustrated that front office really was. It also explains why bringing in Todd Monken wasn't just a routine coaching decision. This was a full-on rescue mission.
I think we're in a similar spot here, just with the opposite sides of the ball. So that, question is less candidate specific. Anyone we talked to understood that made the most sense.
Listen, coaches at this point in the offseason don't just speak like that by accident. Everything is calculated. Everything is intentional. So when Todd Monken shows that level of belief in one quarterback over everyone else, that's not casual talk. That's him telling you exactly who he wants leading the offense. And the front office, they're sending the same message without saying a word. Andrew Berry has already made it clear that the Browns are not shopping for another quarterback. No calls, no veteran hunting, no just-in-case arm being added to stir up fake competition. Instead, they're doubling down on weapons. They're targeting explosive receivers who can stretch defenses and open up the entire field. Analysts are already pointing out that Cleveland is building around pass catchers who fit a young quarterback with elite arm talent and high-level processing. Because teams don't construct offenses like that unless they believe in who's throwing the football. You don't pour resources into dynamic playmakers if you're unsure about your quarterback situation. Every move this offseason is signaling something loud and clear. And right now, every single one of those signals is pointing straight at Shedeur Sanders.
The thing that he can do is learn the new offense, get in with the coaching staff once our offseason program starts, continue to work on his body physically, and then make strides when we actually get on the grass.
Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel reportedly hasn't even had direct contact with Monken since the takeover. No call, no message, no in-person introduction to step up and show he's serious about the job. And in a competition this intense, that kind of silence doesn't just get ignored. Monken wasn't just frustrated by it, he was sending a signal. And trust me, that message landed loud and clear across the entire building. This is where that captain dynamic becomes everything. Monken isn't sitting back hoping chemistry forms around Shedeur Sanders on its own. He's actively shaping it. He's creating a structure where Shedeur naturally becomes the center of gravity for this offense and this entire locker room. Because when your coach is helping you command the room, when he's asking you to carry his voice to your teammates, when he's publicly pushing back against every narrative trying to shrink your talent or your mindset, that's not just support anymore. That's empowerment on another level. And that's exactly what's happening here. Monken is unleashing Shedeur Sanders. Last season, the storylines were stacked against him. No first-team reps, a broken offensive line, a head coach who wouldn't even properly acknowledge him in front of the media, and a media cycle that kept sharpening the narrative every single day. And through all of that, Shedeur stayed quiet and kept working. Now it's Monken's turn to speak, and he's not whispering, he's making it crystal clear. Shedeur is his quarterback. Shedeur is the leader of this team, and anyone standing against that reality will be watching from the outside while Cleveland builds something real.